Hello, everybody. Welcome back to Boss Crew.
Sir.
Yes, yes.
Tonight, we were having a different line of talking, but we had some really good conversation, and we should have recorded it, Christian. You're right. So we're just going to continue from that line. So, uh, it- what was the word, Tyro, that we just used? The imposter syndrome?
Imposter syndrome.
Listen.
Imposter
Yes.
syndrome.
Yes. So I think that's setting in for a lot of us right now, and It is it is hard to continue from this point. So, some of the things that we talked about, Christian, what were some of the points that you made?
Some of the points that I made.
Yeah, to Tyler's questions about how
Oh
to
yeah,
keep yourself up to date and
yeah. I was like, you know, when we get to that point where we feel like we're not going anywhere and we feel behind, or that we're not focused on the right thing, we want to rush. We want
mhm,
to do everything. And
mhm,
I've watched a couple of videos this weekend. I've read a couple of things, and what uh the one video that really stuck with me was that person saying, you need to remember, when you're new in cybersecurity, there is a million things that you can learn,
mhm,
but you need to find out what you want to do and focus on that one thing, because everyone is talking about cybersecurity from their own perspective, from their role. Whatever role they have in cybersecurity, they will post about it in a way where that will make you feel like that's what you need to be learning. That's what you need to be focused on. And then at 10 a.m., you read something about some guy talking about cloud security and Azure. And then by 12, you're like some guy talking about pen testing. And then all over, you saw that guy saying he made $10,000 from a competition, or whatever. And then you're like, oh my God, I need money. I need to get into cyber. Maybe
Yeah.
this guy is right. And then you click follow. Next thing you know, he has a thread. And then you're reading through that thread and start
yeah,
looking up the website that he shares, the link, clicking on links, gonna do everything. But
yeah,
hold on. By Friday, you already searched, looked up 100 different roles. You search a million things, and you're still nowhere. You're still
yeah,
lost you know
mhm,
so I believe that you need to take the step back and then really fight the urge of learning everything because you want to learn.
mhm,
you know Focus on, I'm only going to focus or learn about that specific role because that's what I want to do. This is where I want to go.
mhm.
You
And
you are so right.
if it's too advanced, Tyler, what did you do?
Oh, you're both are so right because, and I think no, I remember during our program, we used to have this saying about going down a rabbit hole, and you
Mhm,
can once you go into that rabbit hole, you can go into so many different directions, and that's what you were saying, Christian. I was just thinking about that that slogan. And you're right. That's me. That is me. That's me in the beginning of the week. I get so many different emails of different websites or different links to different things that are happening in cybersecurity. So I wake up and I'm at least there's four different ones that I get instantly into my email that I'm kind of scrolling through. They're short reads. A couple of them on AI, then a couple of them on different ransomware attacks or different new strategies to prevent bad actors from acting, or how much money a company has to pay out. And then you're right. by the afternoon, there's something else that's popping up again, and then tomorrow there's something else. And by the time I hit the end of the week, I done probably covered probably 30 to 40 different topics in the industry. I've gone down probably like 15, 20 different rabbit holes trying to pick and choose which one do I need to um, learn a little bit about. By Friday, I'm also looking at, I have about 10, 12 different tabs open because I started looking at something and I'm looking at this and I'm looking at that. I said, because I need to know this, I need to know that, I need to be aware of this, I need to know how this is happening. Oh, let me follow this person because they're talking about that. They're both are absolutely right. I need I need to take a step back, pump the brakes for a second, and just probably focus a little bit more on a path that I'm choosing to take. And as I shared with y'all earlier, before I thought well, it is still security engineering, but I realized that I need to take a step back before that and focus on security analysts and let that be the starting point to get into it. I didn't realize that it was a starting point before cybersecurity engineering until I just figured that out, learned that over the weekend. So that's gonna be my path. I'm a security analyst. I'm going to start exploring the roles of that security analyst, and what I learned is that that should lead me into a branch into security engineering. Is where I want to eventually end up, and then from there, who knows where I'll end up after that. I still have an interest in doing more with AI as well as some cloud security as well. So who knows, where I'll end up at.
Yeah, and there's just so many things out there, and it's just so hard to just focus on
Yes.
one. I think that the test that I sent everybody from TryHackMe really helped kind of guide you with those questions, trying to make sure that they zone in on what you like, what you don't like, how your mind works, and then narrowing down one single thing. And then everything else is, how do I get to that?
Get to the yep.
Because there's always a
Yeah.
starting
Yeah.
point. You just that's your goal now, right? And so that's the hardest part. And then the other thing is, how do you manage your time? How do you make a schedule? Because you want to do everything at once. I need to learn everything about this field, but then that leads to, as Christian said, burnout, right?
Right.
Because you're just doing that all day. And it's like, okay, but you gotta time yourself. Give yourself the time to do everything throughout the day instead of all at once. Because the other part is cybersecurity is changing. It's very likely in 6 months, some of the things are going to be very different. Won't be everything, but some of the things are going to be very different.
Yep.
Especially like you said, AI, cloud, everything is taking over. A lot of people are going into cloud right now. So that's becoming a very, very big thing.
Thing.
Even as a developer, I learned that cloud is becoming so big because it's cheaper too, right?
Right.
It's cheaper, it's easier to have somebody else manage
Manage it.
your stuff than you having to do it. So it's all the little things and trying to figure out, how do you do that? Where do you start? But you have to find that starting point.
Yes, and I believe, yeah, that's the one. In everything that we just said is needs to be done by through one process, and it is through the time management process. If you can't take the time to breathe and to say, okay, listen, I will make sure that I give myself an hour or two every day, either in the morning or in the afternoon, whatever works for you. I will give myself those 2 hours, that 1 hour to focus into something specific
Right.
about your career, then eventually you will just burn out. Like you say, okay, this week, um, I will only look up different roles in cybersecurity and really dive in to see which one feels like or is the most interesting to me. Week two, okay, I found that thing. What do I need for that role? Week three, where do I start there? If it's a big thing, if it's something that requires a lot of technical experience, you know, since you have to really be aware of your background. So you're like, okay, this is what I need to learn. Is there a way where I can actually start from a position where I can learn that thing with the knowledge I already have? You know, what is what can be an entry level job for that role? You know, cybersecurity analyst. What do I need to be an analyst, and where can I start? What? How can I start there? What role is it? A SOC analyst? What role can get me to that position? And then from there you'll say, okay, this is what I need to learn. This is what I need to focus on. This is what I need to showcase on my LinkedIn profile. This is how I
Mhm.
need to tailor my resume. I know it sounds very easier when you say it because it just sounds like, oh,
Mhm.
it's just 1, 2, 3. You just have to do 1, 2, 3,
Yeah, boom, boom,
which is
boom.
very
Mm.
different from the truth,
Yep. Yeah,
But
for
I
sure.
think the biggest battle is to fight that urge to do everything, to learn everything, to look into everything, and stick to a plan. Like we said from day one, is to have a plan and make it work. And that's the thing. And every time, and that's where um this boss crew is here. It's not only for us to talk about our journey to you guys, but it's also for us in the group. Because when we get there, we get to talk to each other and really speak out and
Yeah.
say how we
Talk each
feel.
other
And
down from the
each
ledge.
other can say, hey, listen, you need to calm down, you know?
Yeah, yeah. Take a step back. Taiwan, I've had a lot of sessions where it's like, let's take a step back. And it's so true. And I think this field with the way it's growing, it's making it that
Yes.
much worse. When
Yeah.
it's like you just I need to do this, I need to do this, you know? And then social media doesn't help because it's programmed our brains with these little tidbit videos, this 1 to 3 minute videos. So we're expecting our life to be within that 1 to 3 minutes. That is so stressful on your mind
Yes, it
because
is.
now you're programmed that way. So one of the things that I did, and I'm gonna starting to get back into, is set up social media, read a book at night because it's so easy just
Scroll.
read a book, read a book.
Yeah.
So much easier, especially for your mental stress, and read a different book from cybersecurity.
Cybersecurity,
You know,
Sure.
read
yeah.
something fun. If you're into murder mysteries, if you're into, I don't know, vampires, if you're into Bridgerton like I am, I gotta finish my series. It just has to be different from what you do all day to
All the
keep
time.
your
Yep.
mind just calms it down. And I had my best sleep because I did that. I gave up social media and it was like a blessing. So
You're
it's
absolutely right, Ben. Yeah, and
yeah.
that's something the so I did start with and listening to the two of y'all, I did start with a schedule at one point, and now as I'm hearing y'all two talk, I'm trying to remember when did I get off task because I remember I had a schedule set at 12 was supposed to be my studying time. I was supposed to put my hour in for my cert. I had another time to do this. I had another time, and I literally just listening to y'all talk right now. I realize you're so off your schedule. That's the problem. You're not out. You're not on schedule. And then I was supposed to have a time. going into the evening that I would just shut it down.
Yep.
Shut it down, unplug, walk away from it, and do something else. And like you said, Benny, I literally have 2 books that I had started, and I'm still on the first. And every time I
I feel
walk past
you.
it, I look
Yeah.
at them, and I'm like,
Yeah.
I haven't finished reading these books. I'm like trying to figure out
Yeah.
why I haven't finished.
Yeah.
And it's because even in the evening, I might not be on social media, but I'm like finding myself, I'm scrolling through more cybersecurity stuff.
Yeah.
Oh,
Yes.
they're talking about
Yes.
this, or they're doing it. And I'll turn to my
Yeah.
wife. Oh, did you know this happened? Let me tell you
Mhm.
about. She just looks at me like, okay,
Eyes glazing
okay,
over, deer in
like,
the headlights.
like, like,
Yep. Yep.
okay. She's
Yeah.
just like, okay, okay,
Right. Right.
and
Right.
I realized that I need to completely unplug and give myself some grace so everything could soak in.
Mhm.
And like you said, get that good night's sleep where I'm not so tapped in. I'm not tapped in all throughout the night so that I
Mhm.
could get that rest and wake up the next day to get back on my daily tasks of what I'm
Mhm.
working at. And now that I figured out where I need to start from as far as career wise go and what should be my trajectory, um, that also changes the course too. Because like I said, although a cybersecurity engineer almost has a little bit of everything, not everything in the sense that they're so knowledgeable, but there's like
Mhm.
this basic understanding of okay, so that's what this is. Okay, we're gonna use the OSNet. Oh, okay, oh WASP. Okay, so this is okay. I probably need to pull up the Wireshark to help run this. These type of
Mhm.
things. It's I don't need to be so deep into it, and it's like
Right.
pulling you
Yeah.
inside, and then I'm finding myself
Yeah.
going into a rabbit hole again, and then once in that rabbit hole, it's oh hey, I need to know that. Then I'm going into this hole.
Mhm.
Well, let me go this way. Oh, then I
Yeah.
figured out. I look up. I'm so deep into the hole. I don't even know how to get out of it.
Yeah. Yeah. And it's so easy to get there. It is so easy to get there because there's so many things that just keep pulling you. You said the articles. It's like you start reading the articles and
Yes.
you're like, "Oh, I need to know more about this."
Yep.
But I think you have to have that disconnect. Like you read it, "Oh, that happened. Oh my goodness, that's crazy." Okay, move on
Hold
from
on.
it. That's
Yep.
it. It's a knowledge base. That's it. You see a video of somebody doing AI. Oh, that's awesome.
That's
AI is
good.
getting crazy, but all right, knowledge base. That's it.
Right. Yeah.
That's it.
That's it.
But
That's
when
it.
when you start saying, "Oh, this is what I want to do," and you go more and more into it, that's when you get yourself into problems. That's when you
Yeah.
start pulling yourself and you start expecting too much of yourself. The other thing is when you see your peers doing certain things, and we talked about this earlier, your peers are taking X, Y, and Z steps, and you're like, why am I not there yet? Everyone's path is different. You don't have to be at that same step as
Level.
a peer is, as a friend is, as a colleague is, as a whoever, as they are, because that's their path. That's not yours. You have different priorities, you have different
Exactly.
lifestyles, you have different things going on. You have to make sure you are ready, and that will be when you are ready, not when they are, when you are.
You are.
I took a step back from doing too much into this right now because of that. And trust me, I got FOMO. I got big FOMO because Tyler was like, end of October, I'm doing it. And I'm just like,
Yeah.
I had to walk
Yeah.
myself back. I'm like, no, that's Tybo's path. That's not mine. Like that, these little things, like I wanted that for myself, but one thing comes up, another thing comes up, and then the stress of everything together,
Yeah.
it just, it piles on and you have to say, nope, it's okay, step back, and then build yourself up again because there's time to do that. If you
Yes.
stress
No.
yourself, you drive yourself crazy, overwork yourself, what is the end of that? Burnout, as Christian said.
Right.
Yep.
That's all that's going to happen. You're going to burn yourself out. And the studying part is the hardest part to do. It is the hardest part is to get yourself to just study for an hour. because I have such bad ADD. I'll start studying and then my phone will go off or the music will stop that I got in the background, or I have two Conyers, they'll freak out. Something happens and now
It
that's where
just
your mind
goes
goes.
through.
And then you come back and you're like, what was I doing again?
Somebody said in from within the study area, I was reading and the person said the average person only has that attention span of about 20 minutes
Mm,
um when it comes to doing this. And I thought about it and I was like, nah, I said I gotta be able to focus more than 20 minutes. I said, because it's too much information here. I need more than 20 minutes. But I find myself 20 minutes in, 30 minutes in, and I'm like,
yeah,
mm,
yeah,
I'm like, like, I'm like pausing my material. I'm like, let me go get up and get some water. I come back and I'm just like, whoa, you got to sit down and get back to focus. But
yeah,
then I realized 20 minutes, yeah, okay. Um,
yeah,
I, yeah, that 20 minutes, yeah, that's all yeah,
yeah,
my attention span
yeah,
is like, I'm
yeah.
like, I keep pushing through. But no, you're absolutely right, though. It's
Mm,
that balance and trying, I want to say trying, just doing what you can within that time. And also to understand that everyone's path is different.
mm,
Somebody
yep.
else is there, they're there. That's not where I'm supposed to be. And I think
Exactly.
we talked about this also again one time during the course of the program that you are exactly where you're supposed to be at. It's not meant for you to be at that point where your peers may be at. You are where you're supposed to be at right now for whatever reason. It's not meant for you to be any further ahead, any further back. I don't
Mm-hmm.
know. But where you are right now, it's meant for you to be there at that space, and it's because it's what's being given to you to move at that space and that time at that time. So I definitely have to give myself grace. And yeah, again, thank you. You guys have talked me off the ledge.
Yeah,
Yeah, keep
yeah, and
talking me off the
that's
ledge.
yeah, and that's part of it. I think that was the other part that really like pushed me into just saying, let's do this. We're starting these podcasts. As soon as we talked about it that day, I'm like, you know what? It's not only going to help others, but it's going to help us
Us.
stay on
Yes, us.
page,
Yes,
stay in our lane, because we don't need
yes.
to go in anyone else's lane. We don't need
No,
to start walking their path,
no,
Exactly.
especially not in their shoes, because they're dealing
no.
with what they're dealing with.
What right there, like, yep.
Exactly. So we just need to make sure that we deal with what we have to get to that end point. And we will get there. It's
Right.
inevitable. It's how we get there.
That's what
Prepare
matters.
yourself daily.
Yeah,
That's it.
That's
That's
absolutely.
it.
it.
Absolutely.
That's it.
Balance it because you need to have a personal life along with your professional life. And if
Life.
you can't balance the two, you're going to burn out again. That's what happens. And that's why us getting into this field is going to help someone else not burn out, but we can't be doing that right now before we even got
No,
into it.
definitely not.
Can't make
No,
that a habit. We're going
no,
to take
not
the
at all.
load off. We're not taking that burnout from them though. That's got to differentiate the two. I do a crazy thing and I probably shouldn't, but I take a nap every day for 30 minutes right now on the weekdays. I just do it because
That's nice.
every
That's
it
nice.
just regenerates my brain. That 30
That's
minutes
nice.
is just like, you know, especially after like all day of
Helps you
working, being in
refresh
front.
your mind.
e- exactly. Exactly. I even try to step out to the backyard, right? And I have a nice backyard, lots of
Mm,
nature. Step outside, just kind of listen to the birds, each other, just the wind blowing, the occasional car driving by, just that's it. Listen to music, get out, just different things that are different from work. Because I found myself this week, like you said, Tyler, going down a rabbit hole, but a different one. I started going into work and I'm just like sitting at my desk, like waiting for somebody to message me. And I'm like, I
Mm,
can't do that to myself. I can't just sit here. I finished my project, part two's done, waiting for part three, but I can't just sit here hand and foot for somebody to message me something to break, something, like something to do. I have other things I can be doing, you know? And part of it is walking away, forgetting about it, not thinking about it. So it's hard, but
That's something I need to do more. Is again when I was on task, when I had my schedule, I was stepping out, getting some air, taking a brief walk, just sitting outside for a few minutes, getting some of that sunlight, that vitamin C, to rejuvenate, and just giving myself that break. And again, I
hmm
need to get back to that schedule. I think I'm gonna get a board or something to keep it posted and keep a
start
schedule on
putting
it.
start putting schedules in your teams. That's what I would do.
Mm,
Put in a schedule timing, and every time you do something, it will go off.
go
And
off.
12 to 1, lunchtime. 1
Yep.
to 2, lunchtime. Whatever time you need to take it, an hour for lunch.
Take it.
And my sister just passed me a note saying that in Japan, it's proven that a nap will fuel the brain, and nature refreshes the brain and helps you ground yourself to relax. So, moral of the story, take
Take a
your
Take
nap.
naps, but don't take anything. So, but that's another thing. The naps have to be either 30 minutes or an hour and a half, I believe. But I don't
Okay.
know the other one, because once you get into that REM sleep, you're gonna be screwed for
Yeah.
the rest of the day.
Yeah.
So don't get
Yeah.
into that REM sleep. But the 30-minute usually is a nice like power nap, but you gotta get up after the 30 minutes, even if you're still tired. Because once you do, your brain will click back into
Yeah.
gear.
Yeah.
And ginseng. Ginseng is really good.
Yeah.
Ginseng.
Ah, yes.
Yes.
Yeah,
Yes.
that's really good for that too. Especially with like the cold winters coming.
Yeah. Yes. Yes. Yes.
Yeah, let's stay safe out there, okay? There's too many sicknesses going
Yeah.
around, and it's not COVID and the flu anymore. There's something
Right.
else out
Yeah.
there.
Yeah.
Something
Yeah.
else out there. Okay, so she said it's supposed to be 15, 20, or 30 minutes. And in
30
Japan,
minutes.
they do actually do this as a part of their work.
Did I tell you a 15-minute? I've experienced a 15-minute nap, and I tell you, after a 15-minute nap, I'm like, 15 minutes feels like an hour.
Yeah,
It
yeah,
I don't know why, but I've
yeah.
taken a 15-minute nap when I used to. True story. So when I used to work with a group of young men, and we would be in this common area, and we would hold these groups with these young men, and they would be in a circle. And staff, we had our chairs. We wouldn't necessarily be in a circle because the young men would be facilitating the groups. And we had these chairs that had the arms on it. They were regular
Mm-hmm.
chairs, but they were very comfortable. But they had the arms on it. And I tell you, I used to sit in that chair. I would put my hand up like this, and I would sit there. And next minute, I know I would be sleeping, and one of the guys would be tapping me, and they say, "Mr. Osborne, Mr. Osborne." I said, "Yeah." They said, "You okay?" I said, "Well, why you ask that?" Well, you were snoring. So I wasn't snoring. You guys are just messing with me. They said they all of them would say, "You were snoring." I said,
Yeah,
"How long?" They would always say, "Oh, probably about 10 to 15 minutes." I would say, "Oh, I would sleep that long?" They would say, "Yeah."
yeah,
But I would feel good afterward. And
yeah.
I used to
Yep.
tell them, "You know what? Let's go outside because we need to go do something like go have
Yeah,
some physical activity," because I would have the
yeah,
energy. So a 15
Yeah.
yeah,
minute nap, I mean, it
yeah.
does wonders for
It
you.
does. It does. Yeah. That I think needs to be a lot of other countries do it. A lot of countries do
Yeah.
it.
Yes.
We need to implement something like that.
Oh, yes.
Whether we're doing it officially or unofficially, like that needs to be, all right, if your lunch is 12 to 1, take a 15-minute nap before your lunch, eat, and then go back into work.
Oh
Or
yeah.
after, eat, and then take your 15-minute, and then go back
Yeah.
into work. Because that's the only way to kind of help your brain kind of relax from everything that just happened before so that you can be ready for everything that's going to go happen now.
Oh yes. Oh
It
yes.
You have to balance it. So yeah, the nap, it is definitely a lifesaver. And coffee if you're
It
not a
is.
coffee drinker, tea. But either way, gotta gotta keep yourself. The other thing I'm gonna start getting into is yoga because I hear it's so good to keep you just grounded in
What?
everything.
I didn't hear what.
Yoga,
What's
yoga,
yoga? Oh,
yeah. Yeah, it helps you with so many things, and Taiwo and I talk about this all the time because you have to regulate your chakras
Yes.
because they are imbalanced with everything that you experience throughout the day. And if you haven't done it yet, then they're definitely imbalanced.
Imbalance.
So
Yeah.
gotta bring them back
A good
together.
meditation. Good
That's it.
meditation. Yeah. If
Yeah,
you could start your
yeah.
day off with meditating or end your day meditate or
Mm-hmm.
somewhere in the within your day, if you could have a good 7 to 10 minute meditation, just
Mm-hmm.
to again to and again as I'm saying it, I'm like hearing myself talk, and I'm saying you haven't been meditating in the morning. That was something I would do. I would get up early enough and I would do a 15-minute meditation to get myself centered and ready for the day. Um, and that's what probably what kept me on task. Oh man, I so many things. Now I'm realizing, yeah, I admit
Yeah,
I've been off
yeah.
task, guys. That's the problem.
Yeah. Well, that's it.
That's the
That's it.
problem.
Because I get that too. I feel like literally I'm there with you. And it's not until I start hearing you talk, I'm like,
Yeah,
I need to I need to get back into that. I need to and then snacks. You need to get back into these little things. So moral of all of the stories here, naps are very good. Ground yourself with nature. Start doing some meditation. Eat snacks throughout the day and take breaks because whether you're napping or you're just walking away from your desk or walking away from your station, if you're regardless of what kind of job, just walk away from it. Clear your mind, listen to some soft music, some crazy music, just something different from what you're
relax your
currently
mind. Mhm.
doing. And at night, read a book instead of
yeah.
social media. Yeah.
That I think all of these things are important because especially as we are starting to move more into this space,
Mm-hmm.
um, not just in the security aspect of cyber, but just in the growth. I wish I didn't read I kind of glossed over this article, but I need to actually go back as somebody that I follow. And one of the things he talked about is how we as humans are not ready to grasp what is about to be what's about to happen.
Mm-hmm.
When we talk about the expansion of AI, we
Mm-hmm.
talk about the ongoing threats in cybersecurity and having to be able to respond um, almost in real time to um, we as humans are this space is moving so fast in front of us. And as it's being developed, we're trying to keep up with something that we're developing at the same time, and it's moving so fast ahead of us. We can't even keep up with it because there are so many different so many different parallels, so many different avenues coming from it that we're trying to learn, we're trying to master, we're trying to stay abreast of it, we're trying to stay ahead of it. We can't stay ahead of it, but we're trying to stay
Mm-hmm.
within it.
Mm-hmm.
And this is all new to us as human beings. We're not even wired for this, but it's happening.
Mhm.
And we're trying to understand, where do we stand in this? How do we maintain this? How do we not allow this to get out of control? Um, let alone those millions of people, unlike us and many others, that are in this now, and we understand what's happening, what's taking place, what's developing. The people that are not even in this, the people who are on the outside of it, we're moving faster, we're thinking faster, we're responding faster, we're acting faster,
Mhm.
we're processing faster. At least we're learning how to do all these things as
Yeah.
fast as possible because we're trying to keep up. The people who are not even in this, who are not reading this, who are not abreast of it, who are not aware of it, who go about their day to day, swipe their card, s- scan their ID badge, use their fingerprint, use their biometric, their eye, their
Mhm.
face. They
Mhm.
have no idea of what's happening, what's coming, what's developing, how fast this stuff is moving ahead of us. All they know is, I got to get the newest one.
Mhm.
Yep.
Yep.
I don't even know how to keep it safe. Oh, they
Yeah.
have this on there? Oh, okay,
Yeah.
I'll do it. Oh,
Yeah.
it's an update? I don't really want to update it. You
Yeah.
should probably update it. Okay, I'll update,
Yeah.
but you still don't
Yes.
understand. Or I go into
Yeah.
work today and I get there and the guy said, "Oh, yeah, we have this new system set up. So once you step up to it, it's going to scan your face and it's how you're going to be able to come in." Well, what about my ID badge? You still need your ID badge because you're going to need your ID badge. It helps you to unlock your computer. Oh,
Mhm.
when did they do that? It got done
Mhm.
overnight.
Mhm.
So it's moving so fast. Those of us that are in it, I think our minds are starting to rewire
Yep.
in real time. And a lot of everything we were just talking about how to give yourself grace, right? Like you said, stepping into nature a little bit, trying to take those naps, making sure
Mhm.
you're energizing the right snacks, the right drinks.
Mhm.
It's those are the things I think as human beings we're gonna need to keep us abreast, to keep us in the main in the go to the every day, to the every minute,
Mhm.
to the every second, to the every hour
Mhm.
changing aspects of the
Mhm.
world of cyber now.
Yeah.
Because we are gonna need real people in it doing the work to keep things moving and keep things safe for all of those people behind us who don't know and don't understand. As this thing is moving forward so fast, remember, we're not supposed to be where we are right now
Mhm.
as people with the development of AI. We're
Mhm.
not supposed to be able to take all our information and place it up in the cloud. Because even as we speak, I don't know how many articles I came across last week. Um, Again, going into my rabbit hole, um, threat actors now are attacking cloud structures.
Mhm.
Um, they figured out how to leverage from one cloud to another structure, by using that as a means to sort of like put up a sort of secure or sort of protect them from the security measures to get into the other cloud structure. So this is where we're at now. So as we talked about more stuff being moved into the cloud, the threat actors are like, oh, okay, you think you're going to hide your stuff from us in the cloud?
Mhm.
We're going to go get it.
We'll find it.
We'll
Yep.
find it and we're going to go get it.
Yep. Yep.
And we're going to force you to have to figure out how to stop us from getting it.
Mhm.
And one of the things that I'm learning in this space that's growing so fast and moving so beyond the speed that it's so challenging to keep up with it is that AI is going to play a huge role in
Mhm.
this. That's probably even more scarier because in by next year, there's going to be more AI
Mhm.
configurations than there is going to be of the
Mhm.
population on this earth. The number was something
Yep.
like 8.4. Uh, what is it? Zillion? Is it? Is it? Am I right? Am I in there
Yeah.
somewhere?
Something
Somewhere
like
like
that,
that.
probably. Probably.
So
I
there's
don't
going to
know
be
the official
more
number, but yeah.
AI developments. There's going to be more AI tools to use than there is going to be humans.
Mhm.
So we're going to need to find that space to have that grace for us to rejuvenate so that we can stay because this stuff doesn't stop. It keeps moving. And the
Mhm.
only way we're going to be able to work in it is to take that time to
Yeah.
to breathe, to woosah,
Yep. Yep. Yeah.
you know,
While we have the
all of these
time,
things.
because that's the other scary part. My fear is that we're gonna start turning into Futurama, where you're not gonna see any more nature left. That is a fear. It's a
Look at
legitimate fear because the way
Christian is
listen,
like, Mindy. He's like,
I'm
Mindy. He's like,
just
let me
saying.
throw you a line, Mindy. Let me pull you back. Christian got that look like, let me pull you back first. Hold on.
I'm just saying. We're moving towards Black Mirror already, and that's scary enough. Oh,
Mindy, did we lose you?
Did we lose you?
Uh-oh. Here it is.
It's you see, this is
See?
exactly what I'm
This is
talking
exactly
about.
what
This
we're
is
talking about.
exactly what I'm talking about.
You froze on us for a minute there.
I know. I know. It
All
was
right.
like, I think somebody heard me and they're like, shut up. Stop talking. Shh. Our secrets
But
are getting out.
but honestly, I believe one thing. The way I see it, honestly, is tech is here.
Yeah.
It's
Mhm.
being exploited,
Mhm.
and it's creating a million of opportunities for us to learn, to work, to use, and it's great. But other than that, the way I disconnect from it is I see it as no matter how you put this, there's an end and it's imminent. Just like Tyrell said, we are getting we taken there blindfolded.
Mhm.
And when the time comes, I don't even think Black Mirror would be comparable.
Well, I
Listen,
haven't seen some of the new episodes, but you're right
you know,
though. You're right.
you
Yeah.
know, at this point, let's, let's just step at a.
Oh.
There's so many things that you can do with AI, but let's stop there with our great friend OpenAI.
Mhm.
You know, that's one tech. Don't get me wrong. I've been using ChatGPT for so long,
Mhm.
and
Same
the
here.
other day I realized something with the new update that was so cool, but at the same time I was like, hold on now. Is the fact that I posted the requirements of a job, and I said on the new chat, you see how every time you go on there, you can either go back to your old chat or
Mhm.
get a new one. It
Mhm.
was a new one, and I was like, "Hey, listen, I need you to help me tailor my resume so I can you know, prepare my resume better, and so I could apply for that job. Listen, response box came up with a buffer on top of it, and then it says collecting data from old chats, something like that. And the next thing I know, not only did it did what I needed without me posting my resume again, but it also said it, what I could use from other chats I had with it. And it said, oh, you could also use those if you'd like to. That would help you showcase your values and skills on X, Y, and Z. And I was like, now listen,
Mm-hmm.
That's the evolution of tech, right? This is
few months
where
ago,
we are going with it. Um, the discussion, the talk about, and this is again going back to what I said. I think the number was like 8.4 in there. People probably should probably find a particular AI chat that they become comfortable with and start building it out for their for them for their self. Start building it out for yourself.
Mm-hmm.
Um, help it develop the understanding by using the questions, the language, the terminologies to help it build out so that it can start to process process it the way as if, because right now it doesn't think the way we think.
Mm-hmm.
Uh it thinks in 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 I don't know the right terminology, but it thinks in a way still as if a machine is thinking.
Mm-hmm.
And it gives us back that's the response it gives us back. Whereas I could probably give you a response back, Christian, that's more logical,
yeah,
with probably some facts in there. Um I could probably give you some goods and some bads that are probably, but it's not going to do that yet. But we have to build it out that it's able to do that. And again, again, those of us that are here in this space, because we are now being, we are now wiring our minds to think a certain way, to process things a certain way, because we're looking at things uh, uh, we're not even looking at things from a three-dimensional. We're looking at things from we're looking at things differently, from a different dimension. And we're processing our brain. We're training our brains to process it from that other side of the dimension now, and to get us the answers to figure out how to deal with the threat actors, and how to create security measures that are happening, because the threat actors are also thinking like that, so we have to think like them as well.
Yep.
Again, in this space of cyber, this is what we're talking about. This is how we need to start thinking, and the more we train the AI, and this is what they need. This is what it needs. This is why some of the open AIs, this is why with the large language models, this is what they need. This is the only way they're going to get better if more of us are just inputting the questions to ask it and to make it think and to reprocess um um a question, and to think it's regurgitated back to us as if I'm having this conversation, I'm asking a human being,
Copilot
because
does
this is
that
what we
now.
want. There you
Copilot's
go.
doing that now. I've
There
been
you
using
go. That's the
Copilot
training.
for my project. It's definitely, I'll ask it a question, I'll say, "But how do you do this with it?" And it'll answer it. And then it'll have some ready-made questions for me too at the
There you
bottom.
go.
Like, do you have a question to go with this or this, you know? And then I'll ask it, "Okay, but what if I want to put this in there?" And it'll regenerate with that. And it is exactly what you said, Tile. It is going down this new path. And I think that's part of the other part where it's giving me ADHD because it's like, okay, now my brain is going a million miles an hour. And I need to start thinking a million miles an hour because that's just how it's everything is becoming. So you're absolutely right. Like, it's, I don't know, it's scary.
The question was asked last week again, someone that I follow on
Mm,
he asked the question, does it feel like something is happening like that's out of the ordinary? Does it feel like that there's something happening, that something is coming that's out of the ordinary? And he was talking about it in the terms of cyber. And I sat in that question for a minute, and I'm not paraphrasing it right. I'm not doing it justice because I wish I had the question in front of me that I actually got. And I thought about it, and a lot of people a lot of others that follow started chiming in with their response. And I said, no, I said it is. I said you're absolutely right. There is something coming. There's something coming, and it's not necessarily that it's something like it's the apocalypse or anything, but there was something that's on the horizon and it's coming, and it has to do with the space that we are in right now.
mm,
And again, my response in that was that the thought is there's going to be a wave of us that are knowing, that know how to respond, that know how to act in it, that know how to handle it,
mm,
that know how to work in it. This is why
mhm,
people are afraid that they're going to start losing their jobs because there
mhm,
are so many people who are just not they're, they're just not computer savvy. That's that piece. There are people out there who just don't know how to get on a computer and operate,
mhm,
or let alone know all the the little tricks that their phone has on it. And there is something there's a wave that's coming that if you do not know, you are going to be left out. And I think that's the thing. And as I was reading some of the responses, that's pretty much what a lot of people was echoing was that yeah, there's a huge change that is coming. I don't think people are going to lose their jobs because of AI. I think people will lose their jobs because they don't know how to work with technology.
mhm,
Because tech is going to take over the landscape of a lot of work, but they
mhm,
still are going to need the human aspect, as I was saying, to own it, to operate it, to work within the space. We're not getting replaced. Machine is not going to replace us. We're going to still need machine still is going to need that human aspect to operate it, to work
mhm,
it, to make it do what we want it to do to benefit us as a society. It's going to help us in society. It's going to help us with a
mhm,
lot of things. It's going to help us medically. It's going to help us in a sense of probably in our weather patterns and things of that nature. It's going to be so
mhm.
many things it's going to help us with, but it's going to still need the human aspect to operate it. And I believe that's the wave that's coming. That's this huge thing that's going to come upon, and it's going to come right over like a 12-foot, 20-foot wave. And I think it's going to come crashing down. And there's going to be a lot of people standing there like the tsunami hit, and it's going to be like, oh wow, is that our guest coming in?
No, I don't think he's actually coming. Let me message him.
So, and that goes from everything. And Christian, you're probably seeing this. I mean, we're talking about cars, right?
Yep,
Self-driving cars, everything is electric.
everything.
It got me thinking like, do, do, do I need to get ready to train my gas guzzler in for an electric car? I'm like, how far away are we from that we all gonna have to just go start training our cars now to
I
get it
from a
electrical.
personal from a personal point of view, I do believe um the market is trying to force us
Yeah,
towards it more than the consumers are actually ready to accept it.
yeah.
But it is happening, whether you like it or not at this point. One thing that I see every day, every week is when when we propose an electric car to a customer, they're more likely to reject it instead of saying, you know what, I've never experienced an electric car. Let me try this one time. Most likely you will get a no, I don't want it, or I just don't know how to use it, or had it once and the whole charging thingy is too complicated for me. But
True story.
at,
Sorry to interrupt you. True story. My wife and my son were in San Francisco visiting college. That was all. That was their only choice. Was an electric car.
yep,
Was the
Wow.
only choice.
yep, it happens, and yeah, the companies out there are getting to the point where what happened is people doesn't want electric cars like that. So when you walk in a rental place, for example, and you let's say you have a last minute reservation or anything, it's most likely you'll find an electric car on their lot ready because nobody wants it.
Hmm.
You know, the day you get like 10 rentals out on electric is probably because 10 people reserved an EV. But you will not get someone last minute walk in the door and said, listen, I need a car. And then you tell them I have an electric, and they'll be like, oh yes. No. But it happens at this point. Um, the number of cars that are hybrid nowadays, like I don't think people are even aware of that. Most models out there have a hybrid version. Most of them out there have a hybrid version. I'm talking about the most popular basic cars, Corollas, Ford Fusions, Camrys. You get out there and there is a hybrid version where it completely feels like an electric car. You get in it, you start it, it doesn't make any sound. The
Hmm.
dash just turn on, and next thing you know, you're like, oh, it's running. Very efficient on gas since
Hmm.
it's balanced between the two sources of energy.
Hmm.
So I think it's a way for them to help people or push people in an easy way to really think
Hmm.
about electrics. But it's coming anyways. And listen, you sit down in your car. Is that you you sit down in your car and next thing you know you're using your GPS, you're using everything. The car is not
Hmm.
making any sound, and even if it's heavier than a regular car, you feel so comfortable and that you're at the point where you gotta ask yourself, like, an EV is not too bad.
Hmm.
Listen, that's what they doing, and I think it's easier with the evolution. At this point, you have self with the self-driving car,
Hmm.
this point, the next thing that we need to that needs to happen is the Department of Motor Vehicles to say, "Hey, listen, we're going to start thinking about whole routes for self-driving vehicles." Next thing you know, it won't be illegal for you to just sit down in your car and let the car drive you. You know?
Mhm.
So that's where we're going. Tech is going high faster and
Yeah.
faster than we can think of. And cybersecurity is getting more important as the
Mhm.
tech uh, evolves. But it also put cybersecurity professionals at a point where you need to always be on top of your craft. You know,
Mhm.
whatever field you decide to focus on in that cyber, or let's say information technology, IT,
Yeah.
in its entirety,
Yep.
you need to focus on your role and be on top of it. Because one thing is,
Mhm.
before you realize it, what you used to do is the most vulnerable thing.
Mhm.
Or the next day, it happened that that tool
Mhm.
is no longer used.
Yep.
Vendors are thinking of way different softwares. You know, businesses are not using that tool anymore, and threat actors find that one way to break into it like it's butter. So
Mhm.
next morning you have to learn a whole new tool. You have to
Yep.
learn how to use a whole different tool and
Mhm.
do everything differently. Of course, the basics will always be the same, but
Mhm.
on the technical hand, it evolves every day.
Mhm.
And with everything being developed to match with AI, we're getting to a point where everything is self automated, where everything at this point, don't get me wrong, at this point, anyone that uses a computer will have to learn how to code because you're getting in the point where if for a symbol, I don't know, or for just a regular manager, you know, at a sales company, will have to wake up one day and learn how to generate Python. I would learn how to use Python to create these end of week reports every week and
Mhm.
without having to go there and do it themselves because you know, it's so easy nowadays to do it that your
Mhm.
boss will be at the point where, listen, I can't have the excuse of I didn't have time or we were swamped last week. We were swamped last Friday. I didn't have time because they'll be like, hey, listen, all you need to do is just take all the information and pump it
Yeah.
onto an AI and it will just generate it for you. What took you
Yeah.
Exactly.
so long, you
Right.
know?
Exactly.
Right. Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
That will
Yeah.
before we know it, we'll be at this point and
Yeah.
the only thing is get ready.
And stay
That's
safe.
all I say. We get ready and
Get
stay
ready,
Yeah.
safe.
stay safe.
Get ready and stay
Exactly.
safe.
Yeah, it will, especially like this is Cybersecurity Awareness Month, so that's one of the things that I did want to throw out there. Be safe out there. Change your passwords. Make sure your cards are not out in the open. The other thing that I realized, so I was hanging out with this guy I'm talking to, and um he said to me, he said, Bindi, I lock all my cards after I'm done using it, and I unlock it right before I'm gonna use it. And I just thought that was kind of smart because if you lock your card, no one can use that unless they go in and unlock it. And then you unlock
Mm.
it right before and then lock it right after. It's an extra step, but it feels like very safe, even if you're using your iPhones, your smartphones to tap and whatever, because you're locking it
You're locking it
afterwards.
every time.
Yeah. So I mean, I was just like, might be a might be something to consider because
Yeah.
I mean,
It's nothing
so
different from the
yeah,
already multi-step um authentication
yeah,
that you
MFA,
have to
yep,
do now to
Yep.
check, to get into your card, right?
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah. Yeah. Make sure you have
depending on how many
MFA
steps
set
you
up
have.
too. There we
Yeah,
go. Yeah,
exactly,
that's the other thing.
exactly. So
It's
yeah,
available everywhere. That needs to be set up. And I hate to cut you guys off because we're on a roll, but we hit an hour mark today. So,
wow,
Yep. I was just sending that out.
yeah.
Yeah.
So, guys, if you stuck around for this entire hour to listen to us, like, thank
Kudos.
you. Yeah, thank you.
yes, thank you,
Kudos.
thank you.
And don't forget to check out any videos in the past that we've done. Thank you for checking us out today. Any closing remarks, guys?
This is what we do. We share with you our path, the steps we're taking to get to where we're working towards getting, and we hope that anything that we share and we put out there could be helpful to you.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Yep. And I'll say, Mo, out of everything, remember, in life, you need to create that routine where you can keep your mental sane. Just like
Excellent.
you need to take care of your body physically, you need to take care of your mental. You know,
Absolutely.
remember,
Absolutely.
you're not a robot. And even though you're around AIs, you are not a machine. You are a
Nope.
human being, and you need to take care of the most important part of your body. Well, without your brain, they declare you dead.
Mm-hmm.
So take care of it, and that'll be it.
That's right.
Yeah. Thank you for hanging out with us today, guys. Let us know if you have any comments, questions. And don't forget to follow, share, click on the links and wherever they are right now. Yeah, up to, but thanks for checking us out today, guys. Have a great day. Bye.
Bye bye.